Yo, it's good. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Detroit Pistons fans, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Scene from The Gladiator. Is this not what you wanted? Is this not what you wanted? You know, I want to dive into this game against the Utah Jazz. It's disappointing as hell. They were so close, but they were so far. Uh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. If you enjoy the video, support the channel. Hey, smash the like button, subscribe, bell, all the stuff. Right. Look, let me just get to the heart of the matter. Um, Look, I understand. I understand. A lot of y'all are kind of like, even if you're a diehard fan, you might just be a novice basketball player. Um, and so to an extent, due to watching the NBA, you probably unconsciously think that offense is everything. And you look around and you look at a guy who's an explosive offensive player, and you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Jaden Ivey. You know he's an explosive offensive player. You know he is. He is an incredibly talented offensive player. He can shoot with range, great release, high arch. It's a beautiful shot. He's got a little mid range, a little pull up. He showed it off today against Utah. He could get to the rim almost at will. Um, he can score. He can put the ball in the hole. But the trade off, he gave you 5 turnovers. A couple of turnovers when, well, I would say almost all the turnovers were momentum changers in Utah's favor. Some of y'all may not actually watch the whole game or may not be watching it with the same lens, but it's a momentum is when your team is beginning to make positive plays that allow them to win, whether it's a defensive stop, score on offense, they get back and they get another defensive stop, and then they score again on offense. That's momentum, right? It's shifting the game in their favor. See, the thing is, Jaden Ivey's turnovers are momentum stoppers, and they initiate momentum for the other team. You see, they're not just regular turnovers. Um, some guy, might uh, turn the ball over once, twice, but sometimes it's like you didn't catch the ball, you didn't see the shot clock, go out. It was late, got stuck with the ball in your hands. It's tough. But when you're the guy who brings the ball up, when you're the guy who initiates the offense, when you're the guy who's looked to set things up, to be the leader, when you decide to keep the ball and not pass the ball so nobody else touches it, and you turn the ball over, not only is that a turnover, but it's deflating for your team. It's deflating for the momentum. Guys work their behinds off on defense and don't even get to touch the ball on offense. Then they have to go back on defense. Worse, and I don't know if you all noticed this in the fourth quarter, his body language was absolutely terrible after that last turnover. After the last turnover, he barely jogged back. He allowed John Collins to run the floor, starting off from behind him, beat him down the court, and get ahead of him for an open dunk that took it from a 7-point game to a 9-point game. That was deflating. You see, what's happening is that he's compounding mistakes. He's getting in his head, and he is not realizing that the game of basketball is in all these little moments. And I want to dive into that because there are a lot of little moments that were just accumulative. Um, but this is what a lot of y'all wanted. You said, start Ivy no matter what. Start him. Just why not? You're not winning anyways. He's still costing you games. He's not ready. It's not that he's not a talented scorer. He can get you 20 plus points a game. It's just going to cost you winning. And that's the trade-off. He's not ready. When he can't understand to start the third quarter that if you're going to be the primary ball handler, you cannot take 4 straight plays. You cannot take 4 straight plays where you alternate between scoring and turning it over. You can't do that. You can't bring it up and nobody else touch the ball but you 4 straight times. Bojan Bogdanovic is probably their second best scorer. But in this game, I think he was more than willing to concede to let Ivy cook. But Ivy forgot to be responsible for keeping him involved in the game. He wasn't looking for him. He wasn't setting him up. And Cade Cunningham, and this is a thing that he needs to work on also, is that he has to be aware of who needs to get the ball, who else needs to get it going, who else he's going to need to close out the game. Bojan Bogdanovic is a walking bucket. You have to get him going. You have to keep him included. He has to at least touch the ball. You guys can't trade off between you and Ivy either scoring or turning it over. It iced out everybody. And the momentum you had to potentially push through and get the lead, well, you blew it. You see, these are the things that young players deal with. This is why having the youngest team in the NBA works against you. Having the youngest active lineup in the NBA works against you. This has to be one of the youngest all-time active lineups in the NBA. You know, somebody asked Cade Cunningham in the after-game interview. They said, is this eating at you guys? What does this feel like? And he says, we know that we are not a 2-22 team. This is not who we are. I would have to say, yes, it is. In this NBA, you see, it's not to say that you guys suck. You don't suck. You're one of the best players in the world. That's why you're in the NBA. But in the NBA, it's just that competitive. You're going up against a Chris Dunn, who's had to work his way back in the league, who was a number 4 pick for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Athletic, great defensive player, great hands, steady. He's been in the league. He has rounded out his game to be able to last. You got Walker Kessler coming off the bench. Kelly Olynyk is one of those sneaky veteran killers that almost like George Niang, where it's like everybody knows he may not be the athlete, he may not wow you, but if you sleep on him, he's going to kill you. And he did. As a team, the Detroit Pistons failed in two major ways. Not just the 22 turnovers that led to, 23 points or something like that for the Utah Jazz, a team that did not have the offensive firepower to really stay with them. Colin Sexton, Kelly Olynyk scoring over 20-something points. But it wasn't just the turnovers, it was also the second chance points. Not making sure they cleaned up on the glass. How many times they got beat. And it wasn't just Cade, it wasn't just Ivy, it wasn't just Bojan. It was getting beat at the perimeter and then no rotation on the backside to help out the big man who has to step up. And who actually did a good job. Both Wiseman got like 3-4 blocks in this game and got credited with only one. That's something they got to fix because my man was doing work. But Bagley and Wiseman were doing their job. They were stepping up. They were the low man. They committed, and nobody had their back. I'm still clueless as to why Isaiah Stewart stays on the perimeter when he's defending a big on the perimeter. He just sits there. He sits there in front of him. A shot goes up, and he's still at the three-point line, staring. Get your butt back in the paint and rebound, which is why I've been saying I like Asar Thompson better because he brings more energy. He's flying all over the court. He's sliding over. He's hedging. He's covering on the backside. Asar Thompson and James Wiseman as a front court off the bench did an incredible job on defense. And if I'm honest with y'all, when it comes to Marvin Bagley versus James Wiseman, look, I'll give you why Bagley is probably a little bit better rebounder positionally. He gets into position. He boxes out better. He moves his feet, gets into position than James Wiseman. He's better at that. But scoring-wise, I don't think there's anything that I've seen Marvin Bagley do that I can say that James Wiseman cannot do. And in fact, on defense, well, there's something definitely that James Wiseman does that Marvin Bagley does not do. And that's block shots. That's defend the rim. Guys drive at the basket and they see Wiseman. They see him. They don't see Bagley. They know he has a short wingspan. They know he's 6'10", 6'11", with about a 6'11" wingspan. He's not going to block your shot the majority of the time. He's not really a threat. But Wiseman, oh, he'll eat that up. And I think that's a major thing that they're missing, that they don't really have somebody to clean up after him. Now, I will say that Bagley's been doing an amazing job with rotating, being in position, um, getting verticality and jumping straight up. But like I said, nobody's on the backside. And so those offensive rebounds are there. When you got Colin Sexton pulling down major offensive rebounds that give them extra possessions, and that was leading to wide open 3-point shots, that stuff can't happen. That stuff can't happen. And so moving forward, those are two areas they definitely have to improve. The turnovers, we've been talking about them. All right, you want to start Jaden Ivey? Okay, I get it. You just want more offensive pop. I get it. But damn it, you got to hold them accountable for them turnovers. I mean, that's just ugly. You look, as good as you are, you're not Cade Cunningham. You're not. You weren't the number one pick, so you're not going to get the same leeway. Don't expect the same leash. I still want to see more minutes for Marcus Sasser. And to be honest, if Alec Burks does not have it going, yo, go with somebody who does. Shorten the rotation. If Alec Burks doesn't have it going in the first half, go with more Marcus Sasser. Go with him. Don't just keep force feeding him minutes and he's playing terrible out there. Now, the last thing I want to point out that they also need to work on is moving without the ball. And it's similar to offense and defense, right? Defensively, move without the ball. As a shot goes up or a big man is rotating over to help, you have to rotate down to cover his man and get a body on his man. Marcus Sasser is probably the only guy I see doing that, along with Asar Thompson. They're the only ones who really rotate and get a body on the opposing big to try to keep them off the offensive glass. Everyone else is just watching, whether it's Cade watching, whether it's Big Stu watching. I don't even want to call him Big Stu anymore because he's not playing big. Even though he had 10 rebounds, it's like they were non-impactful, right? I think Bagley only had 5, but his rebounds I felt. He was going after him. He was jumping. He was getting up there and grabbing the rebounds. That's something I need to see more out of Stu. But to be honest, I'm ready to start Wiseman. I'm ready to start Wiseman. I want to see if he can get the same dump offs and quick look post ups and quick attacks to the rim to do the same thing offensively while still giving you something on the defensive end in terms of blocking shots. Because if you're going to start Stewart instead of Asar Thompson, your perimeter defense is going to be crap. Now, Ivy's done a better job of giving energy on the defensive end. I want to give him that. Definitely after he's had turnovers, he's done a great job of getting back and disrupting the opposing offense, getting a tip or deflection or steal, and that's been good as well. But as I said, they need to move without the ball as a team, because on the offensive end, what it looks like is Ivy, Cade, Boyan. They'll drive to the basket and they'll beat their man, but then the help man comes over and the defense will rotate and they'll cover the first option. But there's no one else moving without the ball to create a second and third option. There's no one rotating to the weak side corner. There's no one rotating to even the weak side wing. There's nobody cutting off the ball to coming out of nowhere so you can have a dump off option. And that was something else that I thought Asar Thompson did really well, is cutting and moving off the ball, which they need. Now, a simple fix, I would like to see Asar Thompson start. I just would. I'd rather go with Wiseman and Thompson as your starting front court. But if you're going to start Bagley, I guess you need Stewart's physicality. But if he's not going to get in there and cover you and bang, then just go with Asar and let him off the leash like you did early in the season and say, hey, go get me 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 3 steals. Go ahead and do it. Because if you're giving me 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 3 steals a game, we're going to be good. You're giving me that great defense and moving up without the ball. Look, give me those Sean Marion statistics. Give me the 8 to 10 points, 8 to 12 points, cutting off the ball, moving without the ball, getting out in transition, and then go ahead and get me, 3, 4 offensive rebounds, 5 or 6 defensive rebounds. Give me the blocks, give me the steals, and we're going to be damn good on defense. But at the end of the day, I want to know what you all think. I know this is a tough one to watch. Pistons drop another one to the Utah Jazz. What did you take away from this game? Holler at me in the comment section. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.